The lottery is not about getting rich. It's about helping people, and it always has been. The lottery is what helped raise the Great Wall of China, build the roads of Rome, and today, in South Carolina, it's what generates millions of dollars each year for scholarships like the SC Hope, Life, and Palmetto Fellows. The South Carolina Education Lottery is investing in you. Visit sceducationlottery.com/betteryou to learn more.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now on the Mo Kelly Show, it's Tiffany Hobbs, the viral load. She'll speak of all the viral things social media can bring. Facebook, Insta, X, TikTok, the viral load with Tiffany Hobbs. Viral load, the viral load. Viral load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's Later with Mo Kelly, and I'm Tiffany Hobbs with tonight's The Viral Load. For our first story, we're going to stay with the theme of travel. Now, Mo talked about cruises. We've talked about other ways to travel. The probable most popular form of travel is flying when you are looking at longer distances. But with everything in the news, I imagine there's some anxiety. But if you are eager to return to the skies on a lovely flight, there's a new option for you for seating. No longer will you have to be crammed into these small seats with very narrow rows or jockey for a window seat or leg room or headroom when you want to recline, because there's a new startup called Chase Long, which is based in Madrid, Spain.
Excuse me?
Chase Long. And they're based in Madrid, Spain. It looks like a misspelling. It looks like it should be lounge, but it is not. It is Long. And they're based again in Spain. They are pairing with Airbus, the European mega giant in flying and aerospace, to offer a new alternative seating model. Here's what it looks like. Picture kind of a double-decker seating status. There's an elevated row with 3 or 4 seats across. You take a small flight of stairs up, 3 or 4 stairs up along the side. You sit on the elevated row, and normal seating, you have your regular reclining option. You have your few inches of leg room in the front, but you're elevated above the aisle. Below you and behind you, and also to the front of you, is another or are more rows of seating that are right at, what would we say, butt level?
Yeah.
Butt level.
I don't want anybody's ass in my face when I'm traveling. Sorry. Sorry.
And
let's skip to the end.
Chase Long is saying that, hey, don't worry about the optics of this. In fact, this is the new way to travel. This is coming. We're proposing it, and we're seeing that Airbus is interested for some of the European airlines, and this could make its way stateside soon, but you'll have more leg room. You won't have to worry about reclining. It's just that you'll be eye to butt.
Sorry. This stacked airline seating, I've seen it in various iterations and sort of proposals. Yes, you would have more physical room. No, I would not be more emotionally comfortable.
No, and nor are many people who chimed in, which is what made this story go viral. Lots of people are weighing in saying, absolutely not. Like you, Mo, I completely against sitting in this type of format. The main concern is that someone in front of you may fart. People say they do not want to be in the fart zone.
What do you mean, may? You ever been on an airplane? People are farting left and right.
It's like the commonplace for people to let go, it seems.
Recycled air and everything. I'm sorry. I mean, I respect Stefan. I don't want his ass in my face.
Could you please use the proper term if you're going to talk about this, which is crop dusting?
Yes.
Thank you.
Full airplane crop dusting coming your way very shortly. But again, it's going viral because people are talking about it. They're saying that they will find other ways to travel. They'd rather drive. They'd rather take cruises, whatever it may be. The CEO is weighing in. His name is Alejandro Nunez Vicente. And he said, after many questions about the fart zone, he said, quote, with some common sense and maturity, you should be able to find your answer in terms of, will you be in the fart zone?
It's called, I'm business class or first class.
Fart class.
No. They're not having that stacked seating in business class. No, excuse me. Sorry about that. No, I'm not.
It's the chips.
I'm not. I just ate the chips. It's something else I had earlier today.
Well, it could be coming to an airline near you if you're interested in that sort of travel.
No, I'm not interested in that type of travel. And if I were to buy a ticket and they show stacked seating, no.
But what if you're on the elevated row, Mo? Then you're not necessarily being crop dusted. You're doing the crop dusting.
The whole idea is unsavory to me. Okay?
Listen, even if you're at the front of the human centipede, everybody loses.
The next story, switching gears.
And doesn't gas rise?
Very good. The more you know. I'm waiting for Stefan to do that.
Oh, he's very slow on the draw.
There we go.
He's not participating.
It's all good. Speaking of the more you know, again, another day, another opportunity to participate in a scam and have yourself separated from your money. There's a new scam, and this one involves receiving something in the mail that you never ordered. It's going viral because a lot of people have been saying that they have received a certain item in the mail and they're wondering, what the heck is this about? Well, the item in question is a ring. It looks like a diamond ring. It's in a beautiful box. You open it up. It's sparkling. It has all the luster of a diamond, but it's not. It's a monzonite ring. And this ring, monzonite, which seems to be the alternative, very popular and much less expensive alternative to diamonds. You can find them many places, and because they're popular, this is where the scam comes in.
I thought we called that cubic zirconia.
It is a fancy name for cubic zirconia. It's CZ, but it's monzonite in 2025. Okay. And this ring appears in your mailbox via USPS, so it's not even anything fancy. You open it up, you see the ring. This happened to many people in Orange County, and they were talking about it as well, saying, I found this ring and I opened it up and it was really pretty, but attached to the ring, inside of the ring box, is one of those QR codes, one of those squares that you can scan with your phone. And when you scan that code, it provides you with information about the ring, but it also asks you to submit some information to register the ring. Of course, people who are not media savvy, internet savvy, are in fact registering the ring with their information, and they are finding that their information is now out there with these scammers to do whatever. This type of scam is called a brushing scam. That's the technical term. Brushing scam. It's when you receive something you didn't order in the mail, and the U.S. Postal Inspection Service is warning of these scams. So be wary. If you receive anything in the mail that you did not order, you can open it, but don't scan anything.
So I got to turn on my mic. But they're not asking for money in return. They're just trying to get your information.
They're trying to get your information. There's some sort of extortion scheme going on where they have this information. They're going to ask you for more information. It's still developing. It's fairly new. It started last fall, but it's making waves on social media now because it's become a lot more pervasive. So be wary. Again, if you receive anything in the mail, maybe someone's being really kind to you. Maybe it's from someone you know. But if it's not from someone you know, just discard it. Don't play around with these things because people love, again, to separate you from your money. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about Halle Berry and Adrian Brody and why they went viral, and also a list of banned words from a teacher who said, I don't want these words used in my class anymore. And that list is going viral.
It's later with Mo Kelly. The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs. More.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Just a moment.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
Now it's time for the Viral Load with Tiffany. Live on KFI's Later with Mo Kelly. She'll talk about the topics on social media. The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's Later with Mo Kelly, and this is segment 2 of tonight's The Viral Load with me, Tiffany Hobbs. Last weekend, Adrian Brody won his second Oscar for Best Actor in The Brutalist. Well, in 2003, he won his first Oscar for Best Male Actor for his role in The Pianist. But something kind of upstaged his win. Sure, we celebrated that he won, but there was something in 2003 that occurred on stage that had tongues wagging and that would have gone viral if viral was really a thing back then. What happened? Halle Berry was presenting the award to Adrian Brody, and after he won, he grabbed her and laid the biggest kiss on her ever publicly. It became all the rage to talk about. And there were people who launched criticisms at Adrian Brody for kissing Halle Berry in a way that they felt was possibly unrequited, unwarranted, unwanted. Well, now 22 years later, Halle Berry turned the tables on Adrian Brody. She was on the red carpet. He was on the red carpet Sunday at the Oscars. She is doing an interview. Adrian Brody is doing an interview. Halle Berry breaks from her interview, walks up to Adrian Brody, says something that's kind of unintelligible off camera, but you see her motion towards someone, and I'll clarify who that was in a moment, before she then grabbed Adrian Brody and kissed him square on the lips. It turns out that before Halle Berry kissed Adrian Brody, she said to his now girlfriend, Georgina, I'm sorry, I got to do this. She then grabs Adrian Brody and kisses him. Of course, the recording of that, the video of that went viral. It was shared far and wide across social media. But Halle Berry is starting to see similar criticisms for her actions in the wake of consent and concerns around consent. So Halle took the moment, wanted to make it funny, wanted to kind of have her revenge, is what she said, for that moment 22 years ago. But it may not necessarily be playing out the way she intended. And ironically, Georgina, Adrian Brody's current girlfriend, is the ex-wife of Harvey Weinstein and is also mother to his children. So she is very well known in these circles as well. Mo Kelly, what sayeth you? Was Halle Berry overreaching? Did it make you kind of cringe? What do you think about that moment?
I talked about this a little bit, and it did rub me sort of the wrong way. Full disclosure, friends with Eric Benet, her second husband, who I believe was her husband in and around the time of the first kiss. And I sided with Eric, like, because to me, if you're going to forcibly kiss my woman or any woman, I got a problem with that in and of itself. And to turn it around like this, I think about how I would feel in that situation. I'm not in Halle Berry's relationship. Her present relationship is with R&B musician Van Hunt, who was conspicuously absent that night.
I was saying that as well.
And hasn't been seen in the subsequent parties that Halle Berry's been featured in, like the Vanity Fair party. The excuse which was given that he was tending to the kids. Well, there have been 2 other days of parties that we've seen Halle Berry out, and we haven't seen Van Hunt. Not trying to start any conspiracy. I'm just saying his absence has been notable. All I know is I wonder if she would have conducted herself the same way if he was with her.
That is the question that I was asking myself, and that lots of people are asking online and saying, you know, okay, we understand you wanted to do this in jest. And yes, it is a funny moment, but perhaps it could have been orchestrated with a little less tongue, a little less lip. Seemed forceful. It could have maybe been done
I hope
better.
there was no tongue. I hope it was just with lips. And I don't want to be crass, but I'm being very serious. To demonstrate that level of intimacy in a very public way with not only Adrian Brody's significant other there, but you have a significant other, if not physically there, emotionally there at home. I don't, maybe Van Hunt was fine with it, but me as a man or a significant other of either in that situation, we would have had a misunderstanding and there would have been a discussion at the end of the night.
I think that would have been warranted.
I'm just being very honest because I would hate to have to answer the questions of, hey, Mo, are you okay with that? Were you okay with that? Or did you feel some kind of way about it? I would not want to have to answer that question at all.
You don't want to be put in that position to have that conversation. And then it's public. All right. For our last story of the night, there's another conversation that has been sparked. And this one is about language in the classroom. The language isn't your favorite 4-letter word or 3-letter word. No. It's more slang, and a teacher is going viral because she posted a list of words that she's banned in her classroom. Students are pushing back. They're saying these are just modern colloquialisms, just slang. It's how language naturally evolves. Here are some of the words that the classroom is hearing and that you might be hearing in your own home if you have teenagers or preteens. I imagine Tawala definitely is. The number 1 word banned in this teacher's classroom, bruh. Bruh.
I'm with that. Don't bruh
guess.
me.
Bruh.
Mother, father, I'm the teacher. I am not sure, bruh.
Bruh. Followed closely by bro, on God, say less, Gucci, Riz, bussin', mood.
Bussin'?
Yeah.
Wait, don't run by that. Explain bussin', because I know what that means.
You explain it.
Bussin' is short for bussin' it wide open. That's all I need to say.
It also can mean good.
Whatever.
There are multiple meanings.
Okay.
Really, really good.
I think of bussin' it wide open.
Those chips are bussin'. You also
Whatever.
want
you say that
someone
around me.
busting it wide open if you love them, right? If you love them, only if you love them. More words: low key, high key, you doing too much, cap and no cap, sigma and baka, which I'm not familiar. Baka was written into this list, so it's the newest word. But these are some of the words that teachers across the country, I'd argue to say the world, the Western world, are hearing in their classrooms. I know I definitely do. I don't really bat much of an eye as long as it is contextual. But there are teachers who are saying no more of these words. They are banned. And students are saying, let us live, bruh. Let us live, bruh.
Yeah, that's fine for outside the classroom, not inside.
Come on, bruh, bro.
Are these words are banned even amongst themselves, the students themselves?
You're messing up their riz.
So, baka apparently
sounds like a food dish.
Yeah, well, it's funny. It says it's in Japanese means fool, and sussy is short for suspicious. So if you say someone's a sussy baka, which sounds almost like really bad, but it just means you're just basically calling someone out for being a wuss.
Can't we just go back to like moded?
Right?
Can we bring back the old school, like you have classic clothes and vintage clothes. Let's bring back the old slang.
Hey, Mo.
What?
The Later with Mo Kelly show is definitely a mood. It's bussin'. High key,
It's
no cap.
on fleet.
On God.
No cap.
On God.
Mark, you'll catch up. Half of you will catch
what
up.
language are you guys speaking? Is this
Bruh.
Farsi? What do you got? Don't be a sussy baka.
Come on, bro.
He told me in whatever language that was.
And there's part 2 of The Viral Load with Tiffany Hobbs. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640 live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI, Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. That is the theme to Daredevil, Born Again. Daredevil, Born Again, which now just dropped the first 2 episodes on Disney Plus. And I gotta say, it is fantastic. It's one of my favorite shows on Disney Plus. It is actually a carryover show from Netflix. Originally was on Netflix. It was a part of the Netflix Marvel universe. It was not a part of what we traditionally know as the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. But they were all Marvel characters. Netflix had the rights to use them and produce the television shows. Then eventually those shows were canceled, and we were wondering whether Marvel Cinematic Universe would pick up the use of those characters and then insert them and join them in with the Disney Plus universe, which is connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I know it sounds very complicated, but the bottom line is these characters from the Netflix shows were very well received for the most part, none more than Daredevil. First 2 episodes dropped, I guess it was yesterday, and all I can say is, damn.
In a good way. Because that's not death of James Evans. Damn. That's damn, this was good. I think our biggest worry was, now that it's officially in the Disney empire, so to speak, was it going to be Disney-fied? We saw the introduction of Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home. We said, oh, that was amazing. But it was just like 3 seconds. Then he came back for She-Hulk, which no one liked. I may have liked it, but no one else did. Fine.
It was silly.
Fine. The fighting and the choreography in there was great. There were latent vestiges of the greatest of Daredevil. Even still, coming back with a full-on series, I know we were worried. Is it going to be Daredevil like we knew from the Netflix universe? And within the first 5 minutes of this new series, they confirmed everything we needed to see, because just wow. I know that's an overused term to describe something, but damn, wow. Absolutely amazing.
I was wondering whether they were going to have the same tone as the Netflix series. I was wondering whether it was going to be as violent as the Netflix series. If anything, it might even be more violent than the Netflix series. I didn't know, to your point, whether they were going to Disneyfy it and make it more palatable for kids. I didn't need it for kids. This is supposed to be for adults in the way that Punisher, which we'll eventually see, is for adults. And it did not disappoint in that regard. What about you, Mark Runner?
I can't tell you how long and how much I was looking forward to this show. And it was so satisfying that I actually found myself looking for things to complain about last night. And I couldn't. It's terrific. It just hits all the right buttons. Charlie Cox is a great Daredevil. I mean, remember we've had Ben Affleck and I think Rex Smith was Daredevil on TV back in the 70s.
Oh, with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah. Charlie Cox is a great Daredevil. The action is just good and brutal. And boy, if you were thinking that it was going to be sanitized for Disney, I've got some F-bombs that prove you wrong.
More than just a few.
Yeah. Everything about the show is just, it's an improvement on the already really good Netflix Daredevil show.
The sheer level of violence in the show, that paled to me in comparison to how much they've stepped up the acting. I mean, the acting in this series is at such a high level. There is a scene between the principal characters of Charlie Cox's Daredevil and Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin.
Front of the show.
That literally you could cut that tension with a knife. The dialogue was so insane. I kept rewinding just to hear what they said. Like, they didn't just say that. Damn, they did.
Here's something that I think people who may not be familiar with this portion of the Marvel universe need to hear. you have not only great acting, you have great choreography, you have great storytelling, season arc storytelling, and you can find yourself very invested in these characters. Look, Vincent D'Onofrio, you're not going to go wrong with Vincent D'Onofrio, but you can have these great actors, and if they don't buy into the role, if they don't actually care about the role, you get these comments of people just mailing it in. No, Vincent D'Onofrio, who is like a chameleon for many of his roles, he has thrown himself into this. And when we spoke to him, he came on to talk about the 35th anniversary of Full Metal Jacket. And he was talking about his role as Kingpin back then, how it was important to him, how he wanted to be part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It has always been important to him, and you can see that in his performance.
He was born to play Wilson Fisk. He's so good at that. We had Michael Clark Duncan played him in the Affleck movie.
Yes.
And people were kind of wondering what was up with that. But this is just perfect. And a lot of the genius of the Marvel movies has been the casting going all the way back to Downey, who was not a sure thing at the time.
Not at all. Not at all. I would have picked Robert Downey Jr. for maybe Doctor Strange as far as look.
I hadn't thought of that. That's interesting. Actually, since you mentioned it, Doctor Strange and Benedict Cumberbatch is one of the only things that doesn't quite work for me, but in general, their casting has been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like him. I accept him in the role. I just don't think that he's perfect as far as the casting for the role.
No, and his look and his costume and his hair aren't, they don't translate as well as a lot of what the Marvel has done with the other characters.
I would have put him as Reed Richards, actually. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, he's got the build. He's got the build, but he doesn't have the face. His face is too narrow. And
Well,
Doctor
I don't
Strange
think Pedro Pascal has the face.
No, but they make Pedro Pascal is very much a chameleon as well, so he can morph into the role to make you forget about it. You know what I'm saying? Similar to how Denzel kind of made you forget he was Denzel in X. How you just say, "Oh yeah, I forgot that was Denzel." Yeah. Or even Jamie Foxx when he did Ray. When he took off the glasses, and I was like, "Oh man, that is Jamie Foxx." You know, there are certain people who they can morph into a role, but at least Benedict Cumberbatch, he has that narrow face, that narrow, almost shrewd, evil face that is very Doctor Strange-like.
I'm fine with it, but just going back to Daredevil, the casting, I wasn't sold on Charlie Cox originally.
Yeah.
Now I can't envision the role without him.
I'll allow it.
Not only is he a really good Daredevil, but I absolutely love the emphasis they're putting on Daredevil's radar senses, his enhanced senses in this iteration of him. And you can see it in the fights because Daredevil doesn't need to look at where things are. And the way they choreograph these fights, knowing that Daredevil doesn't need to look behind himself, or he's got almost a precognitive way of martial arts fights.
That's very true to the character. Yeah. And I didn't know if they could actually bring that effectively to the screen because, I'm going off of Ben Affleck and that abomination. So
it doesn't hold up real well.
Not at all. Not at all.
At
but they were kind enough to borrow from it. It's been woven into the universe in some way. I'm all in on this Daredevil series, and I know that John Bernthal's Punisher is going to make an appearance or two, and there are going to be dead bodies connected to him as well. I like serious, mature storytelling. Yes, it's a comic book character, but it doesn't mean it has to be a child story, and it's not that.
Somebody, maybe it was Bleeding Cool, I forget the news site, compared it to a Dick Wolf production, but with street-level superheroes in it, and I like that comparison.
For all those who don't know, Dick Wolf is all like Law and Order, and that Law and Order Chicago PD universe.
Yeah, this would be Law and Order spandex, I guess.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1, go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2, collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3, play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4, unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And here for my final thought tonight, I'm going to kind of tie it into last night, the speech to the joint session of Congress by President Trump, and also something I saw in the news today. Charles Barkley, NBA Hall of Famer. He was on a podcast called The Steam Room with Ernie Johnson. And if you know Inside the NBA, he's one of the co-hosts of Inside the NBA, one of the most popular TV shows, sports shows around. And we've talked about it here on Later with Mo Kelly. But here's what Charles Barkley had to say during this podcast. Quote, I don't care who the president is. He's the president of the United States. It's bothered me the last 10 years. They're like, well, I'm not going as in visiting the White House because this certain person is president. Dude is the president of the United States. Even though I disagree with President Trump on some things, if I met him, I would still give him the respect and dignity he deserves. We can disagree, but it bothers me when these teams don't want to go to the White House. I'm just disappointed. We got so divided. Where did we get to as a country when we're like, we're not going to the White House? We don't like who is in there. That's just stupid, close quote. First, I think that's an oversimplification. But I'm not going to disrespect Charles Barkley. He's a friend of the show, and he's been on with me. I respect his approach to cultural and social issues. He's honest, he's transparent, and he's definitely not a partisan. That is if you've ever really talked to him and listened to him. In fact, we've discussed this on various levels on my show. But here is something I think Charles Barkley has missed in this discussion. Whereas I personally agree with him, this is not a personal decision in the context we're talking about here. We're talking about teams, and they largely have to agree as a team. Good luck with that. Dozens of athletes, all with a voice, all with a say. Not a personal decision ultimately. It's a group one. And it is most definitely a controversial one in today's world. Now, we should live in a country and time where it's not a controversial stance to visit the White House and shake hands with the president. It should be that way. But this is not that country anymore, and this is no longer that time. After arguably the most partisan speech before a joint session of Congress in television history just last night, whether you liked it or not, it was severely and supremely partisan. I think it is fair for an athlete to say, hey, you know what? I'd rather opt out. And to say it's stupid, to use Charles's word, is to then put the responsibility squarely on the shoulders of the player or players. And that is also unfair to them. It shouldn't be on their shoulders solely. Now, some of the onus is on the president too. And that's true of any president. You can't say on one hand, the players need to be above the personal and petty politics and not also expect that of the president himself. Here's why. The president presently and previously has directly involved himself in the affairs of athletes. He's insulted athletes. He takes stances on issues of sports, from NASCAR drivers, Confederate flags in NASCAR, kneeling in football, comments and very personal insults of innumerable athletes from LeBron James on down. You can name it. You can't only put it on the shoulders of the athletes themselves. And not only that, there are also social consequences attached. Artists who have performed at either Trump inauguration, for example, have been shunned. Careers like singer Chrisette Michele have been effectively ended. She performed at the first inauguration. Artists like Snoop Dogg have even been boycotted after his appearance at the second inauguration. Visiting the White House is no longer seen as some innocuous and apolitical decision. And I understand why there are those who would rather not have to deal with either the headache or the consequences. It's not fair, but it's a fact. Again, it's one of those times where it's not fair, but it's a fact. Whereas the office of the president is bigger than one person and transcends that one person, that distinction is largely irrelevant to people now. The very fact that athletes are judged for either visiting or not visiting is testament to that fact, and you can find evidence of that in Charles Barkley's own remarks. And this goes back to my conversation with Jackie Ray earlier in the week. It is more than slightly hypocritical to hold athletes to a higher standard than the actual president of the United States. Me personally, I would be fine with it, and it would be an honor to visit the White House regardless of president. But I understand why those others may not feel the same way and feel that it's an outdated practice, more suited for a civil time in America. We're going to have to make a decision at some point. If we really want to keep politics out of sports, hear me now. If we really want to keep politics out of sports, then we have to, at the minimum, stop forcing athletes to engage in political activities and stop ignoring presidents who insert themselves into pro sports. For KFI AM 640, I'm Mo Kelly.
Whatever happens, we have got it covered.
KFI.
And KOST HD2.
Los Angeles, Orange County.
Live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
Every lottery ticket purchase keeps education in our state moving forward. In fact, the lottery has raised more than $200 million for state school buses to get our students to school safely every day. Then, the lottery helps those students go even further in their education by funding the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. So remember, when you play the lottery, you're keeping South Carolina students on the road to success. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Hey, it's Ryan Seacrest. Life comes at you fast, which is why it's important to find some time to relax. A little you time. Enter Chumba Casino. With no download required, you can jump on anytime, anywhere for the chance to redeem some serious prizes. So treat yourself with Chumba Casino and play over 100 online casino-style games, all for free. Go to ChumbaCasino.com to collect your free welcome bonus. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.